morning show presented by complimentlovecompliment.com. It is Wednesday, May 17th, 11:02 a.m. It's about when we usually start most weekdays, 11 a.m. start time. Good to be back. We have a good show today. I got some blood work return already, which was good. Got my first update around 3 a.m. when I happened to be awake. Went out of my room, checked my phone, trying to sleep with the phone, not in the bedroom, but I did go give a quick check at 3 a.m. and got a positive, I think it was a glucose score at that hour. So that was good. But anyway, numbers are coming in. I'll have a full report at some point, but I'm excited. It's fun to watch them trickle in. All right, Matt and Doug is the Instagram here. Doug, how are you doing today?
Matt, welcome. Thank you. I'm doing very good. I'm doing great. I had slept in a little bit today, which was nice. Slept until 6:40, which has been longer than I have been for a while, and I feel good. Feel energetic. Feel good. Had a wonderful dinner last night of sweet potato and tempeh tacos. They were just fantastic.
Okay. Wow, is that a recipe or you just put that together?
Katie put it together. No recipe, but really seasoned beautifully. It was the tempeh was crumbled, which has kind of been our thing recently, which has worked really well. And it was very nice, very simple, but good.
Good. Glad to hear that. We had a Rancho Gordo, our order had come, which is the bean club that we are members of, exclusive club, year and a half waiting list, you said. Ours arrived over the weekend, and we made a pot of white beans the day before that we used in something a little bit, but then mostly had most of the batch left over. And with that, they always send along recipes, and this month they were like mostly vegetarian, or I think entirely vegetarian. Of course, you got to veganize them, but we had the white beans and with like a leek and garlic, a lot of olive oil saute, and then some like a parsley kind of pesto thing. So it was all just stirred together into the bean pot, and had that over some toast. Had a little extra olive oil. I'm trying to prioritize the olive oil over the next few months, see what that does to my numbers. So it was good, healthy Mediterranean style meal.
Nice. Yeah. Wasn't the founder of the Gordo Bean Club? Was he just pushing beans? He might have just been pushing beans. In some article we covered, they interviewed him.
Yeah, that's right. I barely remember
maybe
that.
Not a vegan diet.
Steve Sando is his name. I don't know. He definitely doesn't talk about vegan or vegetarian things very much, but he eats a ton of beans, it sounds like. So he must not be too far from vegetarian.
Cool. Well, hey, Matt, I got some breaking news. Do you have the button ready?
Good. Yes, pretty close to ready. It's take me a second. Go ahead and just start it, and then I'll play that. Here we go.
The votes are in.
Wow.
The votes are in, Matt, with unprecedented turnout.
Okay.
An incredible 78% of PBJs voted decisively to declare vegan grilled cheese worthwhile to eat. Now, I pass no judgment on you, and as a minority thinker, that's okay. But let's be clear: the PBJs have spoken, and vegan cheese can and should be melted on a slice of bread.
Okay. And how many, rounded to the nearest 100, how many people responded to this survey?
I mean, enough.
Okay, so 0. We would round to 0.
Hey, if you didn't vote, then it doesn't matter. I mean,
round to the nearest 10. Is it 0 or 10? What's nearer?
10. It was 10? More than 10. Greater than 10,
but not 20.
Less than 15.
Okay. All right. And 78% said grilled cheese is a good thing.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. They're crazy, people. I said yesterday, you have a problem if you make grilled cheese out of. I mean, assuming you're plant-based eating the show, then your only option is vegan cheese. And I think if you think that stuff's good enough and healthy enough that you're going to make a whole sandwich out of it, you have a problem. I think I called it a cocktail of death yesterday. Someone wrote that in Discord today, and I was like, did I actually call it that? That's
I don't know. I don't remember that, but I do remember you telling me that I have a problem, which doesn't sit very well with me. I must say.
Well, I stand by that. I do think that is a bad thing to make at home, and I still can't believe you heat up deli sandwiches. That is just gross to me.
How do you not? Like I just to me, how do you not? I don't know.
It's just what a deli sandwich is. Just a cold cuts they're called, because it's just a cold sandwich. Nice fresh, maybe pickle on there, fresh vegetables.
Yeah, but you think about toasting bread. You think about toasting.
Like, do you heat up the lettuce and stuff too?
No, of course not. Of course
So
not.
you heat up all the meat and bread, and then you just put the toppings on at the end.
I mean, think about how you think about Quiznos, right? I'm sure you ate Quiznos.
I was just ready to do the opposite and say, you know how bad Quiznos subs are? That's what you're doing at home.
Oh, that's great. That's hilarious. Quiznos, or even I don't know, Subway or whatever. You take your bread, you put a little cheese and meat on there, you toast it, send it through a little toaster, and then you top it with a bunch of fresh stuff, bunch of condiments, lettuce, tomato, olives, drizzle of olive oil in there, and it's delicious.
I guess it is. I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem very good to heat up that vegan meat, but whatever. Everyone's going to do their own thing.
As Mr. Jeffrey says, not everything has to be healthy. Sometimes it just has to be good. And I think that's the difference. The main difference between you and me.
Yeah, I think
I love a good healthy meal, and I eat healthy most of the time. Like, let's be clear. We joke a lot about my eating habits, and most of them are way healthier than we joke about. But I do love a good meal that's good, not just healthy.
I think you can train your taste buds to really, really enjoy the healthy food and start to not like the unhealthy food. And that's where I think I've gotten recently, and that makes me happy. So that's why I take such a strong stance.
Well,
anyway,
and the PB&Js disagree with you. So
okay, the 10 of them do who voted, and actually only 78% of them. So about 8 of them do.
No, there were 14 votes. 11 people voted.
So about 10 people don't
there you go.
like my sandwich taste. All right, good, fair enough. All right, good. Well, we're trying to move a little faster here with our show, so we won't dilly-dally on everything else we did in our days yesterday, which was uneventful, largely for me. Hello to people who are here. Just always like to check in. All the familiar names. Good to see. Lori Stevens says she's going to Tennessee for her daughter's graduation and stopping in Asheville for lunch. That's exciting. Where are you going to stop? That's what I want to know. Plant, I don't think, is open for lunch anymore, so you can't go there. Rosetta's Kitchen, classic, great, old school Asheville stop. That would be. I'd say Rosetta's Kitchen, good place. Doug, what would you like to recommend? What kind of taco place would you like to recommend?
You should come to Black Mountain, not Asheville. Skip the crowds. Skip all
the nonsense. It's so much better and more exciting in Black Mountain than in Asheville, for sure.
No, Rosetta's great.
There is White Duck Taco Shop. I mean, that's not an Asheville exclusive anymore, but that is a good place.
Yep.
Laughing Seed. Yep. Laughing Seed's okay. I prefer Rosetta's, honestly, but it's okay. All right.
I agree there. Yep.
Good. All right. Well, let's get into what we've got today, our weather report. We're trying to tighten up the format, as we said, so we'll keep doing that, and you'll notice some growing pains probably, but we'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. It's Wednesday, May 17th, your plant-based morning show weather report. First up, a new study. Veg News reported this one, published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, has found that a healthy diet, which in the case of the study, this is not what Veg News will tell you, but they will tell you later. But a diet that prioritizes vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, legumes, fish, and healthy fats while limiting red meat and alcohol. So basically, Mediterranean diet is associated with better fitness levels equal to walking an additional 4,000 steps per day. The data is from the Framingham Heart Study data set, and I think that's still an ongoing thing. So these were older people, 54 years old, older than, I guess, the average person. Maybe that's not even true. I don't know. But anyway, interesting that your diet choices are associated with greater fitness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good color there, Doug. Absolutely. Next up, mushroom sales across Australia have risen significantly. According to new reports, the year of the mushroom is, in fact, upon us, it seems, at least over in Australia, the opposite side of the globe from here. Well, it's there. It's not here yet, but
it's a global thing. It's a global thing.
Okay. Apparently, mushroom sales are shooting up throughout the country. Plant-based food turns up on dinner tables across Australia in greater numbers than ever. And people are saying it's because of increased living costs that is forcing people to eschew an animal protein and replace it with cost-effective mushrooms and other alternatives. All right, on to the next.
I mean, this is great. I think it's awesome. I think
love it. Okay,
cost-effective. I don't. All right. So baby portobellos, they're cheap, right? You can get those for super cheap. And that's kind of like your go-to. But as I have been exploring more mushrooms throughout this year of the mushroom, and we're reading about certain mushrooms in different articles, I mean, some of them are really expensive, and so not very cost effective. But if you just go with the cheap guys, then yeah, it can be good. Definitely meaty up a meal with Whole Foods.
Yeah. And the thing I learned this year, white button mushrooms are the same as baby bella mushrooms, which are the same as portobello mushrooms. They're just all in different stages of life. I've heard they have the same nutrition as well, even though those white buttons are way, way cheaper. So if it's all you want is nutrition, get the white buttons. All right, here's your big one, Doug, of the day. Taco Bell filed a petition with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on Tuesday. You know we love a good lawsuit. Whoops. Meant to hit the gavel there. A lot of times when I hit the get my screen to light up again, somehow it triggers a button. But there's your gavel. So Taco John's back in 1989 trademarked the Taco Tuesday term. So little did we know, every time we say that, Doug, we're using a copyrighted term.
Trademark infringement. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Taco Bell, they want that. They want to be able to say that with no legal ramifications. And their reasoning, this is in their submission, that says it's simply for pursuing happiness on a Tuesday. That the world would want to share tacos with the world, I guess. It violates an American ideal, the pursuit of happiness. No one should have exclusive rights in a common phrase. Can you imagine if we weren't allowed to say "what's up" or "brunch"? Chaos. So it almost seems like a tongue-in-cheek filing here. Which I didn't know you could do that. And I thought that would be frowned upon and sort of a waste of time by the legal system. But that's what they did. They're not seeking damages. They just seek reason and common sense. And I think they're basically saying, well, come on, we're Taco Bell. We should be allowed to use that term. That seems to be their reasoning here, that they are Taco Bell. So,
well, I stand with Taco Bell on this one. I think Taco Tuesday should be untrademarked, available to anyone who uses it. Who wishes to use it. I'm actually really surprised by this because I'm sure that Taco John's, which I've never even heard of before.
Taco John's. They have like 400 locations apparently.
Okay. I'm sure they're not tracking down small bars and eateries across America. But I mean, I've seen Taco Tuesday. I mean, that's a really common phrase. Like that's a common thing that people promote on their websites and on their boards out in front of their restaurant and stuff like that. So I was really surprised this is trademarked. I guess Taco Bell has enough influence to know that they can't do that, or enough. I don't know. People are paying more attention to Taco Bell.
Right.
But I don't know. I think I'm all for Taco Tuesday and anyone who wants to promote it.
Okay.
Long live the taco.
Good. Sounds like a totally unbiased argument on your part. I love to give legal advice on this show, given my extensive background in the one business law course that I took when I was in college. I think actually that I'm not surprised they have the trademark. I guess two common terms like that sounds a little hard, but I think if no one was using it when they said they wanted it, like I got No Meat Athlete trademarked back in 2009, and those are some fairly common terms, but together they weren't being used. But here's the thing. As far as I know, like you said, everyone uses the phrase Taco Tuesday all the time. And you have to actually protect your mark and make efforts when it is infringed upon. You have to make efforts to protect it. And if you don't, then it eventually becomes whatever, public domain or something, because you don't appear to want to protect it. So you see everybody use this term. So I think Taco John's maybe not in a great place to say, well, we've been trying, we never let anybody use this. So I think Taco Bell's got a point here. And I do love Taco Bell. I do love the vegan and vegetarian offerings they have. They're great about that.
You think I do? Is that what you said?
No, I do. I think,
you do. Yeah.
I haven't been there in a while, but that used to be one of my big time soccer road trip stops. Once I discovered that you could press that vegan button and get the vegan menu, or the vegetarian button and get the vegetarian menu. And basically get anything at Taco Bell just with black beans. And then a fresco style. So they'll remove the creamy things and the cheese. So it's a nice little vegan hack there. Not really a hack, but it's good food.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've been in Taco Bell, like years and years. But
that doesn't add up to me, Doug. Yeah, you're like such a taco guy. You don't go to the biggest taco chain in the world that has a bunch of vegan offerings. You must just not eat fast food very much.
I don't. It is very rare that I eat fast food.
Well, if you do, you really owe it to yourself to stop by Taco Bell.
All right.
And finally, big one, totally relevant to our show, of course. New study accepted for publication in the Astronomical Journal says the Earth is not likely to be struck by a civilization-ending asteroid in the next 1,000 years. We were sweating a little bit, I don't know, a couple months ago on the news that I think Valentine's Day 2033 or so, there was one that was like maybe going to be 400 miles away or something like that. Very low probability. No, it was not that. It was the 1 in 400 chance that it strikes the Earth and ends civilization. I don't remember the actual distance that it was going to be away. But anyway, so NASA has they've like been cataloging asteroids that are coming, and I guess they can sort of see any that might hit it within hundreds of years. I didn't realize it was that easy to like see everything. It's more the modeling of where it will actually hit. That's the challenge. And they've been able to predict stuff out about 100 years and stay pretty safe. But there's some new methods they're using, new analysis methods that's allowing them to model 1,000 years into the future. And what they've said is we're in the clear. I mean, we're till year 3000 or so. Nothing is like more than a 1 in 100,000 chance or something on that order of ending civilization. So if civilization ends, it probably won't be due to an asteroid.
I mean, I think this is good news for civilization as a whole, but I don't know if it's that good of news for me. I've been, ever since we talked about it, a couple months ago, I've been living life like the world's going to end here in a few dozen years. And that, I've been burning through cash and burning through friends and burning.
I think that was the strategy we said you should do if you thought it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, burning through tater tots, the whole thing. The whole thing is
live like you're dying. That's what you do. It's a good mindset anyway.
Maybe.
All right, so that's your weather report, and it was a little quicker than usual, so I'm glad about that. All right, so there really was not news today, not new stuff, but we've been wanting to do this for a little while, which is look at these Instagram reels that these influencers are putting out, that these kids are putting out on the Instagram, and talk about them and why they're wrong and why we're right and why the world's changing too fast for its own good and all that stuff. Basically just be curmudgeonly. But Doug, you found this one from this guy, I think Carnivore MD. I didn't know who he was until I clicked on his name and all that, and then saw in his bio he's Carnivore. Not even his screen name is Carnivore MD. Is that him?
It used to be. He changed it. I'm not sure. I'm sure that was a marketing thing, but
okay.
But his name is Paul Salad.
Salad?
Salad? No. Saladino. Paul Saladino.
Yeah, because he doesn't like salad at all. That would be an odd life choice.
That's funny. I just saw salad. But he has like 1.5 million followers on Instagram. I think even more than that on TikTok. Okay. In my research of him, I found that he did a podcast with the Minimalists. Do you know the Minimalists?
Yeah. So I clicked on his Instagram profile and I saw him with the guy, I forget his name, but from the Minimalists. And I was wondering how.
And Rich Roll. And so Rich Roll was there and him, and it was hosted by the Minimalists, and they were talking about diet. And it was from 2019. I haven't listened to it yet, but I just found this and I'm going to, even though it's old. It'll be interesting to see how Rich.
Yeah, it must be a debate, right?
Rich going into a lot of debates like that. So, but he's obviously a very intelligent guy. So I'd love to kind of see how this works out.
Yeah, interesting. I wondered about the connection. I didn't see Rich Roll in there. I just saw the Minimalist guy, Joshua something. And I just thought that seemed like an odd fit. I didn't even think they would be pro carnivore diet. But then I thought again, I said they're not necessarily would they be plant-based or anything like that. You could be a minimalist and be into carnivore eating.
Sure.
So that would be interesting. So let us know what you think about that.
But this Carnivore MD guy has racked up a lot of followers, and I think it should be noted that he has a organ supplement company. Nothing against people with supplement companies, no problem there. But that is organs. Certainly just when they're organ supplements.
Yeah. I mean this carnivore diet is actually getting some traction. Like I think about, I don't know, a year ago, someone told me about Liver King for the first time. It could have been you. And it was just this kind of jokey thing. And I really thought it was just like a one-man funny thing that was like, true, but also ridiculous. Now we've got Bear Grylls talking about this stuff. He has his own organ supplement company. By the way, Plant-Based News says he was never actually vegan as far as they can tell. He always said, I eat honest meat or something like that. So even when he was selling vegan cookbook, he was saying he still ate honest meat.
Interesting.
So now that he's bashing his vegan time, it's not really accurate. But anyway, it's happening, right? It's a thing now. This carnivore diet idea. It's not long enough for people to really know what happens after even 5 years on it. But yeah, and I'm not at all surprised that people would bulk up and for a little while feel great on this thing. So that's what drives a lot of these different extreme diets. So anyway, so that's the context, which it's all kind of new to me, but I'm realizing it is a real thing happening. It's not just joking.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he is one of several kind of influencers who are pushing this.
Yeah, right.
This style of eating.
Definitely. All right. So you want to play this reel, and then we'll chime in. We'll give our response.
Yeah, let's do it. So if you're watching on Instagram, go over to YouTube, No Meat Athlete, or youtube.com/No Meat Athlete. You'll be able to watch it there, but I think you should be able to hear it, right? Because you're gonna adjust the audio for me. All right.
Think, yeah, should be here. Yep. Go ahead.
Ready? Oh.
You think this is the best breakfast ever? This is not the breakfast of champions. Oats are full of phytic acid, a compound that chelates, that bites onto minerals like magnesium, zinc, calcium, iron, and many others in your body, and prevents you from absorbing them. Basically, your morning oatmeal is robbing you of nutrients. Not a health food, horrible breakfast.
All right, let's actually play that again because I couldn't hear it, and I was talking over half of that. So let's try that again.
All right, go for it.
Fake health foods, oatmeal. You think this is the best breakfast ever? This is not the breakfast of champions. Oats are full of phytic acid, a compound that chelates, that bites onto minerals like magnesium, zinc, calcium, iron, and many others in your body, and prevents you from absorbing them. Basically, your morning oatmeal is robbing you of nutrients. Not a health food, horrible breakfast.
All right.
Not a health food, oatmeal.
Horrible breakfast.
Breakfast.
I noticed his spinach one ends in some kind of like, he says let's rant, and then he goes, bad for you. And at the end of the spinach, they're done in this little, whatever the style is. I don't remember what I used to do with the audio, why when you played audio, I've had to do something, because I can't figure out, all my stuff's hooked up to headphones. I don't know no sound bleeds into my mic. I don't understand why I have to do anything when you play sounds. I just can't remember it, but we'll talk about it off air. But as far as I know, I think the audio all worked fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. So oatmeal, which is what everyone's, all vegans' favorite breakfast food, right?
According to,
except for you.
No, I don't like oatmeal. I don't eat it, which makes me maybe a little bit unbiased here, or even biased on the wrong side. Michael Palm, CMO at Compliment, he has infamously said something about like, yeah, everyone kind of knows that like oatmeal is like just like pretty much the healthiest food you could eat or the healthiest breakfast ever. Like he said that once, just matter of fact, like it was accepted, understood by everyone that was the healthiest breakfast there was. And I took issue with that. So that I don't think that's true, but I don't think it's unhealthy. It's okay. It's whole grains, and I think that's good. And if you put good stuff in it, then it can be good. All right. So I like, it's silly to even address this kind of thing to me, because it's the thing that I think is ridiculous about reductionism, and how when we read articles, and this goes for plant-based stuff as well, when we read articles and they have a bunch of recipes in them, like I think we had a taco list one, 6 tacos or something, and they'd go through them, and if it had sweet potatoes in it, they would say sweet potatoes are high in vitamin A and this and this and this, and they help protect your whatever because they have this. Like, and I always think it's just so stupid that like we reduce foods to what vitamin happens to be in them and how it helps this one thing, so that then we're going to be encouraged to eat this recipe because it's going to make our, eyesight better. If we were to eat this thing every single day for the next 2 years, maybe it would add up, but like, it just doesn't. Like, you get an extra vitamin A today, doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make.
Yeah. So
I don't like that stuff in general.
I do think we need to address phytic acid though, because that seems to be something that's coming up a lot.
I mean, for me, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me if the long-term, and that's, again, this reductionism thing. Like, we can talk about the mechanisms that make this unhealthy, or the anti-nutrients in beans. I think phytates are one of those. And people do the same thing with beans. They say, how can you eat beans, this horrible food, when it has this in it, this anti-nutrient that prevents absorption from all this stuff? But then you zoom out, You look at long-term studies, people who eat beans, what happens? They live longer because they have less heart disease and less diabetes and less cancer. Like, who cares what's in it? You can put poison in it, and if it does that to me, then I'm okay eating it, right? Like, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything to say about phytates. I don't know how to defend against them, except I would imagine there's compounds in oats that make it so whatever these phytates supposedly do that's so bad, that effect is diminished or far outweighed by the other things that are in the oats. And so the only way to really address are oats healthy for you isn't say, well, I'm going to instead say, oh, well, fiber's in them, so then they're good. Because that'd be making the same mistake to me.
Right.
You'd just be picking out one thing and saying this is good or bad. So you just look at long-term health studies on it and see what happens. And like that on its own isn't enough to say, so I shouldn't have said, like, if you tell me that beans make me live longer, but they contain a poison, I'm going to eat them. That's a joke, of course. But like, you just need to look at all kinds of things and lots of different things. But to me, the health outcomes over the long term holds much more weight than some mechanism that we sort of pretend like we understand and, can decide whether this food is good or bad based on it contains this.
Yeah.
So we can do that in a minute. So Harvard has a very unbiased article on oats. So we'll get to that in a minute. But
I want to address phytic acid.
Go for it. Please do.
Because I did do a little research on this. It sounds bad, right? If it blocks absorption of certain nutrients. So you think of all the positive nutrients that are in oats. Like if this is blocking that absorption, then what's happening? Well, it turns out, and I think that this is kind of a no-brainer for a lot of people, but I did confirm it with a bit of searching. Is that if you cook your oats, or if you soak your oats, or if you ferment your oats, or if you sprout your oats, so do anything basically other than raw oats, then it breaks it down, and then destroys the phytic acid, and then it's no longer a problem.
Right. I mean, so I didn't know that, but that sounds right. Like when you soak beans, they say that helps to reduce these phytates, but most people don't have any issues when they eat them, even without soaking. So, and so you wonder. Well, let's talk about what these actually do. But I'll give you one more comparison here. To me, this is like I like drinking red wine, right? There's no secret, and I don't pretend it's a health food. If I were to look at it and say, well, red wine contains Resveratrol, which is known to do all these things, prevent cancer, and lots of other good things in your body. When Resveratrol is studied on its own, it does that, right? Probably just like phytic acid when it is studied on its own. But I could just omit from that argument that literally alcohol is a poison and it's in the drink, right? Yeah. So like, just because you can find that something that's good or bad in a food, like that's just the weakest argument you could possibly make. It is an argument, but it's about as weak as you could possibly go. Pick out one element in a food and say if it's good or bad, and then make a decision about that food based on that. It's just not how you do nutrition science, I guess I should say. So that's right. The thing to do then in that case, we look at the long-term things. What happens when you drink red wine? And more it's coming out that it's not a good thing. So in that case, the resveratrol argument, and also the idea that you observe that you get a decent amount of resveratrol from red wine, that's also pretty much false. You just don't get that much. Point is, it's just a silly way to go about assessing anything. So I did Google this. I didn't, I've heard for a long time oats being a whole grain. I think I've seen that oats have that American Heart Association heart approval, which by the way, you can buy. Veg News had an article today about beef.
Oh, really?
That. And we know Beyond Steak got it, last week.
You can buy it?
It said it's for a fee. I don't know if it's like a public thing, but they said between a few $100 and a few $1,000, depending on the size of the company that wants to get it. That's how you go and get it from the American Heart Association.
Wait.
Crazy.
You have to certainly meet certain types of criteria, right? Like there has to be something.
Sure. I mean, they would destroy their brand if they didn't. But I mean, they're probably destroying it anyway with just how is it? But yeah, so I don't know the details. I just skimmed the article today from Veg News and thought it was interesting. And that might be how Cheerios got their heart, because we were wondering about that one the other day.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I looked up just one of the first things I saw. This is from Harvard Health. Just an article about oats, talks about the long-term research on them, and it's unbiased because the very first thing it says is oats are associated with heart health benefits, but research shows differing degrees of benefit. And then the first thing they show is a systematic review of 9 randomized controlled trials did not find adequate evidence to show that whole grains, including oats, reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease or lower blood cholesterol or blood pressure. So there's that, but then the study authors acknowledge small sample sizes, short durations. Then next they mention a meta-analysis of 18 studies that included mainly cohort studies found that the highest whole grain intakes, which includes oats, compared to the lowest, were significantly associated with 21% reduced risk of heart disease. There's another Danish study showing 25 to 27% lower risk of heart disease. Then there's diabetes. Different large studies have shown significantly reduced levels of fasting blood glucose and hemoglobin A1C, which is one of the things I did recently in my blood test. That it's related just to oats intake specifically, does that. So reduced risk of diabetes from that, and then similar results from a randomized control, another one that looked at 298 adults. Then they get into more with weight control, digestive health, and they're relying on fiber. So I'm not going to talk about those. They're just saying it has lots of fiber. Fiber is known to do this. That argument is kind of the same as the phytates one, right? You're just picking out a thing and saying that thing is associated with this. So I'm just saying let's not look at those right now. We're just looking at long-term health impact, and what we have is positive impact on diabetes and heart disease. So, I mean, to me, that's way more important than finding a mechanism and saying, well, this has phytates or phytic acid, so bad for you. Terrible breakfast.
Terrible breakfast. Bad. Never eat it. What's a better breakfast? Let's see. He puts it in his comment.
Yeah, he just go eat eggs and bacon and things.
Eggs and bacon and beef organs.
Yeah, like foods you can actually absorb, or with nutrients you can actually absorb or something. And like, I guess if we're being fair, we'd have to then go look at long-term health, like not say saturated fat, but let's look what happens when you eat large amounts of that stuff. And of course, people in that camp are gonna point to the stuff that is positive, but it's hard to ignore and hard to pretend that stuff is not negative in large amounts. I mean, it just is. In long term, it just doesn't do well. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It's just silly, and it's a shame. I mean, I hate that this stuff happens. Of course it happens, but this is how he's not going to get people to look at his thing by talking about animal products and talking about long-term positive health studies on animal products if he can find them. Right. It's not nearly as exciting as picking out the supposed poison in the oats and saying how bad it is. So this is what happens, and it's I hate it. It's just awful. And all media does it. It's a shame. It's what media's about.
Yeah. Yeah, he's successful with it. He's successful with it.
Yeah, until he has a heart attack, which I don't hope happens, obviously, but I don't know, just not a good diet. Yeah. I mean, I can't say that fairly. I don't know for sure it's not a good diet. It's just there's not data on people eating that way for a long time. So I'd be afraid to eat that way.
Right.
All right. Good.
Well, good. Our first influencer addressed.
Yeah. Matt and Doug talk back. Is that what we should call that segment?
Ooh, I like it. Snapback.
Matt and Doug snapback. Like that. Okay, good. Well, there was no article today. We couldn't find anything good, so we did that instead. I think we should do that like once a week. That would be fun. Mm-hmm. And it's as if we had Carnivore MD on our show, right?
Basically,
he contributed to the show. So look at us. We're having controversial guests.
Yeah. We should. Sorry, you cut out there. I didn't actually hear what you said.
Oh, I said, look at us. We're having controversial guests on the show.
Oh yeah. Perfect. We're expanding our reach here, which is good.
Yeah.
I guess if you're surfing Instagram or TikTok and you come across someone who is saying something that you're curious about, post it in the Discord and maybe we can clap back.
Oh yeah, clapping back would be good. Yeah, good. Please continue to share those things. All right, good. Well, we did the show 10 minutes faster than we typically do them. That's good. We want to keep doing them short. I want to make it easy for people to keep up, to listen every day. We're gonna do No Meat Athlete rate. Doug, you're not gonna I don't have something in my inbox like a cancellation from you, right? Saying you're drowning or something.
No, although I am. Today I woke up quite stressed again, similar to last week. But no, I'm good. We're doing it. We're doing No Meat Athlete Radio. We got to get episode planned.
You're not suffocating today, or what will be another good metaphor, like drowning. You're not bleeding out.
I'm just like stuck underneath the weight of a boulder of work. Yeah. Crushed. I'm crushed underneath the weight.
Good. No, we're gonna do it today. Did we set a time? Did we say 3:00? I don't remember.
3:00. 3:00 p.m. We'll do it live here on YouTube, not on Instagram, right?
No, I don't think we'll do it on Instagram. Yeah, and that's longer format. We'll fool around a little more in the intro of that, I guess, just talk more. So There will be times when we can just whatever ramble if you like that. But we're gonna try to tighten these up so you can just listen to them. Doesn't feel like a huge commitment, and you can keep up. That's what we want to do. All right, good. So that's it. We made it through Hump Day successfully. Tomorrow's Thursday. Always a good, fun show. So I look forward to that. Anything else, Doug? To the nice people.
No, I got nothing else.
Okay, good.
Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Goodbye.